This is Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online, on DAB+, and on your smart speaker.
Ian Collins on Talk Radio.
It is Talk Radio. Welcome back. It's a Friday. It's just gone 3:30, which means only one thing. In true Doctor Who style, we transform ourselves from this place to this place.
Bottoms up, it's Wind Down Friday on Talk Radio.
There it is. Look, we're in the bar already. And Christopher Cooper has come back to join us as well. How are you?
Hi, Ian. I'm very well, thank you very much.
Good. Wine presenter, director of Drinkonomics Productions, and a very busy man as well.
Apparently so. Life is pretty good. Life is pretty busy, which is very interesting. But we are in the midst of the COP26, aren't we? So we're talking recyclable, infinitely recyclable wines right here.
Yeah,
do you like
so
that?
I like it because when you said recyclable wines, that made me think, is the wine recyclable?
Well, the containers themselves are recyclable.
The containers they're in, because that would be weird, wouldn't it, if the wine was recyclable? I don't even want to think about the implications of that.
After it comes out and goes through, oh my goodness.
Right. Yeah, yes, exactly. Here's a process, put it in a tube, and away you go. It's funny that the whole kind of this COP thing, this COP26 thing. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories about it.
Of course,
And I love a conspiracy theory. And that before it happened, and the build-up, which has been a couple of years, and we've talked about it for on and off for about the last year, that this big conference is coming up, and it's going to be the game changer, and it's going to really change people's lives.
That's
taxation and fuel and all of that, and in some cases it will do. But actually, if you talk to all the real environmentalists, I was talking to Dale Vince this morning. He's the chief of Ecotricity. They're the world's first green energy company.
That's right.
You talk to what's that little kid called? Greta.
Greta. That's her. Yes.
Yeah, she's about 58 now. By the way, I keep calling her a little kid. She's grown up. Actually, they say. In fact, she sang a song in the street. Stick your climate crisis up your. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So to all the environmentalists, this has been rubbish.
Yeah.
They're not happy with
They're
what's
not happy at all. That's right. But it's it's a big thing that is suddenly now thrust in everybody's faces.
Yeah. Have you insulated your house, Christopher?
No, I
that's what
haven't.
I need to ask. You're a very bad man.
Well, no, but
how can you even show your face in public? Who goes out these days without insulating their house? Nobody does. Lagging the loft.
Oh my goodness me! All of those sorts of things. Yeah. So it's a big thing, and I think in terms of the drinks people, if you like, people like myself, it's obviously a massively conscious thing that we're thinking about, and obviously everybody's looking to pull their own weight and do their own little bit where they possibly can.
Yeah.
And I think drinks and we're obviously looking at wines in the same sort of in the same way.
Yeah.
And one of the ways we were looking at is obviously big heavy wine bottles as well. We're looking to reduce those big heavy wine bottles and making them a lot lighter and making the glass a lot thinner, and therefore it alleviates a lot of the transport costs. And
but
that's
true on the I never thought about the transport side, but in terms of the recycling side, wine's always been ticked a rather big box, hasn't it, in some respects? Because it's glasses has been forever recyclable.
Glass has been recyclable, and it is quite a labour-intensive process. Yeah. Whereas they're now looking at cans as being a much more environmentally friendly way of being able to transport and consume wine.
Who would have thought it?
Who'd have thought it?
Wine in a can, because you do get quite a. We've all. It's always the railway station, isn't it, when you buy something in a can?
That's great.
Because they do that. They do the
little cheeky one for the train home.
Little cheeky one for the train home. Yes, G&T or whatever. Vodka and tonic, whatever you want. But people don't really think of wine in that respect. They used to do, and maybe they still do. Do you remember the little plastic glasses?
That's right.
That had wine in and a sealed top.
Oh, but plastic, suddenly, it's all very...
plastic, yeah. The guy, I don't know who invented plastic. I'm assuming it was a bloke from somewhere because of the era.
That's right.
But, and I'm assuming he's not around anymore. And do you know his name was actually Burt Plastic?
Burt Plastic?
Yeah, so
wow.
Burt Plastic
all his fault.
Spinning
it's
in his,
all his fault.
But he'd be thinking, hang on, I invented something. At the time, everybody said, this is such a game-changing piece of innovation. This is incredible. The applications for your plastic, Burt, are so huge and vast. It will cut down on all manner of things. It will allow production of all sorts of things. It has there's not just an economic element here, there's a socio-economic thing because of everything that can be done with plastic.
That's right.
It can make things affordable that previously. And so Burt was
suddenly now his plastic is now being used for miniature glasses semi-average wine with a peel-off
semi
lid.
is generous as well.
Well, I was being quite
you
generous
were being
with
very
that.
generous there. So Burt was the Brad Pitt of the innovation world for many years. People loved it. But here comes Plastic Burt, and lauded wherever he went for his amazing innovations. He couldn't move for the fan base that was Team Plastic, and now essentially he's nothing more than a serial killer. He's like poor old
absolute
Burt.
pariah.
History has not been kind to Burt.
Wow.
He's the... And I know there's a lot of people going to hang on.
If it wasn't Burt, it would have been somebody else, surely.
Yeah, well, they all say that, don't they? They all say, yeah, well, if I hadn't have done it, somebody else would have done it. But I do wonder whether... I don't, has all plastics got to go? We know some plastics are recyclable, so that's obviously a box ticked.
And there are some elements where there is no other option other than to use plastic, and I totally get that. However, it's reducing the needless, the plastics whereby we could use something else. I believe, and those plastic peel-off cups that you find in the railway stations is possibly not an area where it's essential to use.
Even Burt would have drawn a line at that. Burt would have gone, no, sorry, it was never meant for this kind of caper. Not in a million years.
Reach for a nice bottle of claret, surely.
Take it away, please. It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because the stuff when it comes to plastics, and I found this fascinating forever now. Like, so you buy a bag of salad, something you think, if you're thinking environmentally and about what you eat, you buy a bag. Very few packaging on salads is recyclable. I find that astonishing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely, of all the things you might think, crisp packets are usually not recyclable. Some are probably changing that now, but it's quite amazing. And recycling was never controversial when it was about recycling your milk bottles. Nobody would have...
That's right.
If you'd thrown a milk bottle out, you'd have been a weirdo, wouldn't you? And
but
not recycled.
Are we going back to that stage now where we're reusing glass bottles as much as possible, and where we're going to go to the shops and top up our glass bottles with a bottle of, with a refillable wine, if you like?
Yeah,
I know it's available in a lot of places now. It's cool and it's coming back.
Is it?
To go and top up your own bottles of wine and bring them back home.
Because you get that in some places with like pasta and things.
That's right.
You take your own box or whatever, you fill it up, and I think, well, that's a pretty good way of... I don't know anybody, seriously. You get... Obviously, there's some people who go, this planet stuff, I don't give a monkeys, to be honest. What a lot of nonsense. Recycling just makes sense for everybody, even if you don't buy into all the environmental arguments. Why would you want to throw something away if you can remake it again?
Exactly, and cans are a case in point of that, where 59% of all aluminium cans get successfully repurposed and recycled into something else. So therefore we're looking at cans today because they are the most recyclable packaging for wine. And I think it's really great to showcase it this week with you.
Well, what I'm going to say to this, first of all, as an outsider of this world,
go on then,
that the vessel is all important to the taste. So what is that recycling can going to do to the flavour of my wine?
Well, the interesting thing is the inside of a can is a completely hermetically sealed environment. So therefore it's not going to age, it's not going to go off over, well, it will go off over a period of time, but there's an element of the wine staying as it should do.
Got it.
As the winemaker wants you to taste the wine. So, but also, unlike a glass bottle, cans themselves don't have any what's called light strike as well. So the sunlight getting into the bottle itself and denaturing and flavouring the wine in a particularly not quite so nice way.
Sure.
So cans have that sort of nice hermetically sealed environment whereby the winemaker is now saying this is the way you should be tasting the wine, rather than it sort of aging and corks and all those sorts of things.
It does. We're going to taste the first one in a second. There's a bit of a psychological thing as well, isn't there? We're going to have to get used to, because when I'm looking at those, I'm thinking immediately of some fruit drink.
Yes.
That's going to come out the other end.
And you might also be thinking we're sort of on the lower end of quality. You may be thinking as well.
Yeah,
however,
true.
There is also a growth in quality wines going into cans these days as well, and we're sort of dipping a little bit into that here.
So what are we going to try first?
So the first one was going to be the most wanted, the middle one on your selection there. So we've got the most wanted, and we're going for pink sparklers, obviously because it's Bonfire Night. So we're talking about sparklers, aren't we? So this is your most wanted Pinot Grigio Pink Fizz, and this is a wine that is made in Hungary, of all places, and they bring the wine right across to the UK and they can it here in the UK. So therefore they're reducing all their transport costs, they're reducing all of the bringing trucks of cans of wine all the way over from the continent. And what they're doing is they're canning them here, which is a lot more environmentally friendly, as you would expect.
Should we try one of these?
Should we try one? Should we get it open?
So this is the Pinot Grigio.
Cheers, Ian. Good to see you.
Cheers, Christopher. Yeah, good to see you again.
Now, the challenging thing with this, rather than drinking out of a bottle, out of a glass, sorry, is you don't get to stick your nose into the glass and get those sort of aromas and flavours and everything like that. So what you're getting with these wines is you get a lot more of the textural mouth flavours rather than nose flavours.
Gotcha.
And so that is a bit of a challenge when it comes to wine drinking out of cans. However, if you're watching a firework display this evening and you've got a can of wine in your pocket and it keeps nicely chilled until the kids are enjoying their sparklers and you get your own little sparkler,
which I will
as well,
be doing this evening.
There we go. And so drinking a can of fizz like this is quite a decent thing. Are you getting the entire olfactory flavours of the wine? No, but they can almost design the wine itself to taste better in the mouth than it does on the nose. So therefore, if you poured this wine into a glass, it might not taste as good as it does.
So they've
out of the can.
considered that when making this, which is good. I guess the other not danger, but something you have to get used to is that when you're picking up a can of something, there's essentially you want to guggle it right down.
Yes,
which you
maybe.
could do. There's no law in the land that says you can't do that, but you wouldn't normally do that with a glass of wine.
No, it's much more of a sippy sort of a thing, isn't it? You take little sips.
And because that's a pink fizz, I was tempted because it's got there's a fruit base there. I was
tempted it's more like an energy drink.
Like guggle it down, and of course I'd be hammered by about 4 o'clock. So that's called Most Wanted.
That's the Most Wanted, and that's their pink fizz, and it is available widely in many, many places. Obviously, Morrison's, Asda, Tesco's, places like that, between £2 and £2.50 from Marks and Spencer's as well. So it's widely available and it's pretty much everywhere. So if you need to stop off somewhere on the train, on the way to wherever it is that you need to go tonight,
yes.
Don't shove one of these in your pocket.
Don't pay for it first though.
Yeah, of course.
Don't not one of those plastic things.
No,
not that. Go for one of these. All right.
But,
go on.
No, but also I think in a can also it just creates it keeps it cooler for longer rather than plastic. Oh.
Christopher Cooper is with us. We're going to have some more from Christopher in a few minutes. We've got 2 more cans to try here on Talk Radio.
Online, on DAB, and on the Talk Radio app. Talk Radio. This is Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online, on DAB+, and on your smart speaker.
Ian Collins on Talk Radio.
I've got to ask as well, maybe Sam, maybe you know the answer to this. Has James Well been upsetting the anti-vaxxers again? Because there's a right old flurry at the moment of whale-based abuse. I don't know what the heck he did, but he's likely to have tweeted something. Because in fact, when I say anti-vaxxer, by the way, I have to, advisedly, I didn't think I had to qualify this until I found myself getting loads of stick. Christopher Cooper, by the way, is still with us.
Part of the pub chat.
Absolutely right. And so what had happened, I used the term anti-vaxxer because I thought that just described people who thought that the vaccine was going to make you grow a tail or track your DNA, one of these kind of people.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about people who medically can't have a vaccination or for some reason just don't want to have a vaccination. That's a perfectly reasonable disposition. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I wrongly kind of encompassed everyone. I'm talking about the people here, though, who clearly think that Bill Gates is about to kind of rewire their DNA. And I can't read them out, unfortunately.
Wow, that is fairly serious.
Oh, there's a lot of it, yeah. I got into a little bit of a conversation yesterday online with a guy about Bill Gates. It's like, this evil man. It's like, there's a guy, there's a billionaire who's dedicated his time to wanting to vaccinate countries where there is such poor healthcare that millions of kids die on an annual basis. I don't know why that's a bad thing. Well, how did that become how did Bill Gates become the bad man in all this?
No, I find it incredible.
Don't get me wrong.
One too many cans of wine, I suspect.
It could be that. I think, look, for what it's worth, I've always said that when it comes to philanthropy, when it comes to sort of utilitarian endeavours, benevolence and all the rest of it, I've always thought underneath that is usually a narcissist. I have no struggle in believing that Bill Gates is as vain as it gets. It's all about his place in history. Of course, he doesn't need the money for good. It's all about the money with Bill, isn't it? He doesn't need the money. He hasn't taken a wage, I don't think, for donkey's years, because he doesn't need to. He's one of the richest men or the second richest man in the world after
Elon Musk
or Bezos, isn't it?
Oh, Bezos.
Yeah,
right.
there's the three of them sort of mess around at the top of the league table. But it's extraordinary. So he's all of those things. Of course, he's vain and he wants his place in history. And it's about the power of all of that. I think most people who became billionaires would probably want to do what he does.
I should think so.
That's what I'd do. I'd go, look, I'm a billionaire. I'm going to solve world hunger. I'd give it a go at least. You'd try, wouldn't you? We digress. Anyway, Drinkonomics Productions. Tell us about Drinkonomics Productions.
Drinkonomics Productions is a drinks development agency, and we look to do drinks innovation, but put wine in cans. We do come up with new products, and we do drinks futurology, as we're calling it.
That's good.
And so we're looking at what the future of drinks is going to be, and we create and help develop those products of the future and bring them to fruition now.
And things are changing.
Things are changing. So wines in cans are obviously something that's really exciting and really up there at the moment.
Yep.
But quality of wine in the cans, I would say up until fairly recently, hasn't been that great. So we're looking to put some really exciting quality wine into cans coming up in the future, which is looking really exciting.
So what are we going to try next?
So the second one that we're trying is going to be the La Dame en Rose, and it's a rosé sparkling wine from Marks and Spencer's. So this is their own wine. So they've basically.
So this is M&S.
So this is Marks and Spencer's. They use the La Dame en Rose as a brand that they do for a lot of their standard rosé wines.
Yep.
They have a rosé fizz that they sell at £9 a bottle, and this is their French fizz sparkling in a can that again is available probably in every Marks and Spencer's, in every train station up and down the country. Available.
See, I'm not massive on the old rosé normally, but that's all right, isn't it?
That's all right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I like that compared to the first one, because I just think that's got a little bit more sweetness, a little bit more richness, and a little bit more. It's a little bit more going on the palate,
Definitely.
And so for me, I think that's a really exciting wine. Obviously, that's available in Marks and Spencer's or Ocado if you're an Ocado shopper, at £2.65 per can. And they do them in a 4-pack as well if you're looking to.
What are you getting out of that compared to a bottle, for example?
I think, as we sort of mentioned earlier, these wines have been designed to be created for the can itself. So yes, to a certain extent, it is the equivalent of the £9 bottle.
Yep.
However, the bottle has been designed to be made into a bottle, and so therefore it's a lot more naturally fizz, and it's got the cork in the top and all of those other things.
So it's not the same. It's not the same vat there. They just go put some of it in a bottle, some of it in a can. It's a different process. It is
a different process, and what you get at the end of the process is a slightly different flavoured profile for the wine itself. So this particular one obviously has a little bit more sort of floral notes, a little bit more sort of juicier, fruitier notes, and it's got a little bit of sweetness on the finish that actually I quite like. And this is a bit more local, so we're looking at France rather than going all the way to Hungary for the most wanted.
Got it. What's our last one, Christopher?
The last one is, again, this is where we start going up in quality, and this is where we start looking at something that's a bit more exciting. This is the Uncommon. This is their bubbly rosé wine. This is Eleanor, which is the name of the picture on the front right there.
Okay.
And this is a blend of Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier, and these are made from vineyards in the UK. So we're looking at vineyards in Kent, and we're also looking at Hampshire and Surrey. And so they've blended a wine together of these particular grape varieties, and they've made a sparkling wine that is a little bit more British, shall we say, and a little bit more quality driven, I would say, as well.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can taste that quality difference.
You can certainly taste the quality difference, and you're getting a little bit more in the can as well. So this is a 250ml rather than a 200ml compared to the other two.
Okay. Nice can as well.
It's a nice can. It's a little bit more premium in terms of price points. This is a £5 for a can.
Okay.
Rather than a £2 or whatever it might be. But then when you're buying, a glass of wine in a pub or a bar or a restaurant or anything like that, generally they will start off at a £5 anyway. So actually, price for price and quality for quality, you're getting something fairly decent.
Where could you get this?
You can get this from Waitrose, you can get this from Marks and Spencer's, Ocado, all at £5. So again, it's really, really tasty, I think.
Fantastic. Christopher is still with us. We are going to be speaking as well to Rob Rinder. What we're trying to do here is a bit of choreography where Christopher, I think you move to there, and nobody will see this. Rob Rinder comes in. Got his wig on and everything today.
I wish. God, I wish I had a full head of hair like yours. How does that happen?
You've got great hair.
Don't be so ridiculous. I keep brushing. It's like somebody who's like lost a limb. You know, if I carry on brushing it will come at some point. You're looking very swell. How are you, love?
I'm very well, love. How are you?
Very, very splendid. What have we got today,
much.
please? I know we're supposed to talk about what's on the show, but everyone's drinking.
Right, if you want the nice one, grab that one on the end and open it and just have a taste.
It's called the Uncommon. I mean, that couldn't
be
be more me, could
couldn't
it?
Be more
that would be my wrestler name, wouldn't it be?
In the red corner.
Yeah, the Uncommon.
So this is an English sparkling wine. So it's made from grapes grown in Kent and Hampshire and Surrey.
Why is it in a can?
Because it's good and people want to drink wine on the go, don't they? And obviously it's environmentally conscious, as we've been talking about before.
Really good. That's actually genuinely nice.
It's genuinely nice. And that's the whole thing.
Rosé typey kind of thingy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but we're looking at putting quality wine into cans these days rather than just the usual average kind of stuff. And so this is the beginning of that trend.
I think it's really good, actually.
It's really good.
It's like the Marks and Spencer thing. Other shops are available.
Exactly.
Where you get on the train, especially nowadays where they've got no service because of COVID, you'd pick this up.
That's right.
Wouldn't you?
If you're stuck on a train, and you want a little cheeky one, then there you go.
Because they don't put enough of the alcohol in the vodka and tonic ones, do they? They're complete. They're
is that your problem?
Like the G&T as well.
Yeah, you need 9 of them to get even a thin buzz.
9?
Maybe 3.
I'd like to go on a train journey with Rob.
Telling you.
Again.
That's just over here to Leicester.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Listen, Christopher, thank you. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ian.
Christopher
Thank you
Cooper,
so much.
wine presenter, director of Drinkonomics Productions. Rob Rindersey, we've only got about 20 seconds, Rob, but do tell us what is happening in the
Absolutely
mighty
everything.
Drive
We're going
Time
to be
Show.
talking about Owen Paterson, of course. A complicated story, which I have to say, I've read all of the parliamentary rules and regulations, and I don't understand them. And if I don't, and I'm, thinly intelligent, I'm hoping that the other people out there are confused. So we're going to be explaining that, but also asking the question about who would want to be a politician nowadays. And frankly, given the environment that they have to be politicians in, everybody's looking, shrugging their shoulders. None of my talented friends want to go into that business. And it seems to me that we have a generation of here today, gone tomorrow's fifth raters. And the reason for that, in part, is because of the climate of our political culture. And it's something we should think about and something we're going to be discussing on the show.
It's all coming up after the news at 4, which is next.
Online, on DAB, and on the Talk Radio app. Talk Radio.